Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Enigmatica 2 Expert. Now, since last episode, I have been doing a bit of building. We'll go down there in just a second. Also, our MFSU, totally filled. It's been filled. I've been keeping my stuff fully charged. Quantum suit, doing great. Doing great with these leggings. I love these things because I can get around like super fast, you know. And it does come in so handy. Comes in so handy. I can't wait till, it might be next episode, I don't know, when we start doing reactors and we start getting into, you know, scanning and replicating and UU matter and all that stuff. Well, we won't get into scanning and replicating right off the bat. You know, we got to build up a little bit of UU matter before we can really start doing that. But starting in towards that stuff. And honestly, replication is going to make our lives so much easier. Okay, so since last episode, I do have some stuff prepped here. We're going to be using some of this today. We're going to be getting into a bit more harvestcraft this episode. Now over here, I have nothing really right there. Right over here, I've started setting up something right back here. And you can see I've got some water traps from Pam's harvestcraft set up back here. And this actually leads out to the ocean. Just kind of for decorative, theoretical purposes. Like fish actually swim in from the ocean and get caught in our traps down here. You know, the current kind of pulls them in, I guess. So at least they're not just like magically appearing is kind of what I'm thinking. So we kind of have the fish traps set up over here. We're going to be automating these this episode. The way I have these set up, we have water blocks all around them. And then right over here, it's 2 spaces because they do require at least 2 spaces of water. If I didn't have this block open, they would not work. Okay, this is working good. I was doing some testing earlier, and that's one thing I want to point out. Ground traps and water traps, for whatever reason, if you only put one piece of bait into them, and you leave and you come back, they'll produce nothing. It'll consume the bait, which basically tells you this does work, you know, your placement and everything, but it will not actually produce anything. And this happened with 4 water traps, 6 ground traps, all set up with 1 bait each. Left them running for a while, came back, they didn't have anything. Threw more bait in there, consumed it, came back, it didn't do anything. But as soon as I put more than 1 bait in there, they started working. So just a heads up, if you only put 1 bait into the trap, it doesn't seem to produce anything. Now over here, I have been working on this little area. And this actually took a little bit because I actually had to build, you know, under the ocean. And I crafted up a sponge from open blocks. Really great. I love these things. They're super cheap. Piece of wool and a slime ball of any kind. And you can make yourself a sponge. These are reusable and they basically absorb the water around them and keep it from flowing into that spot. Really, really handy block. And I've set up 6 ground traps. Because of course ground traps, they require grass around them. They also require a sight line to the sky. Luckily glass and water do not mess that up. You can see that if we take a look in here, these are producing stuff. I was testing it. So they do work being under the ocean like this. And that was actually something I was really hoping would work, and it did. I was very happy about that. I figured it would, but I wanted to make sure. And so I got this little area set up here. Of course, it's not decorated or anything yet. It's basically just set up so that we can do a little bit of automating this episode. Because I do want to work on a little bit of harvestcraft stuff. I will say that as far as harvest area stuff goes, as far as on-camera episodes, we're going to be automating this episode. We're going to be automating ground traps, water traps, as well as the beehives finally. We're going to get those automated. And then as far as harvesting stuff goes and our automation in that regard, let's see, we're going to do a really quick IC2 harvest thing here soon. Maybe even this episode if we have time. We should move through this pretty quick, but we'll see where we get to. And then we're also going to be automating wood here soon. The rest of this stuff I'm going to do off camera because it's all pretty standard. I still need to set up something for, you know, pumpkins and little things like that, but it's stuff that I feel like you guys shouldn't have any questions about that because it's identical to stuff that we've automated before. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. And what we're going to do, the first thing is we're going to automate our ground traps. Or do we want to start with beehives? Let's actually start with beehives. We can knock these out crazy fast. These things are super simple to automate. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's see, I believe we already have grubs and hives and all that stuff slotted, right? Wax comb, honeycomb, and bee grub in a void chest, or in a void drawer with 104 stacks. That's great. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that side of things. Now all we need to do is we are going to pop down underneath the ground here, and we basically need to follow this around, and basically I just need to dig this out, you know, come up underneath the apiaries. There we go, and I'm going to get my torches just so I can light this up as we go. And luckily we have a conduit line right there that we can plug into. This stuff is going to get facaded. We're just still kind of working down here, so I haven't facaded it yet. This does this sometimes. Whenever the durability on these climbing gloves start getting low, it starts acting up. Okay. So I've got this all cleared out to each apiary. Now, of course, I am going to add more apiaries to this. We're going to have a bunch because this is also going to be our automatic emerald system. Right? I can just grab a bunch of wax combs, come to the shipping bin, and there you go. I wish we could automate this. We can't. But we can automate the apiaries, so at least the stuff coming in is automatic. Alright, so all we're going to do, this is actually very, very simple. We are going to, let's see, I want to start on this end, I think. Yeah. Let me actually dig down a little bit more so I can get down here and move underneath the conduits. It'll definitely make our lives going forward a bit easier. I need to set up the rest of these apiaries. They're not really expensive. They just involve crafting, and I'm just like, I'll get to them at some point. Now that we're automating them, I think I'll be a little bit more interested in getting to these a little bit quicker now. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and just run our conduits out. We'll do like this. That way it saves me a facade up there. And we're just going to plug this into our apiary. We're going to say that you can insert, and this is going to be a priority of, say, 10. All right. And you can see it's not inserting anything right now because nothing can go in here except for queen bees. And then we're going to go ahead and set this to self-feed enabled. And we are going to, we're going to allow extract. Okay. So it's going to start pulling everything out. And if we give it just a second here, it's going to pull out the queen bee. It's not pulling, oh, you know what it is. Derp. Okay. Total derp on my part. Okay, so the insert. Let's actually turn that off. We don't actually need that. I don't know what I'm thinking. All the Pam's Harvestcraft stuff, you don't insert just wherever you please. So we're going to go ahead and set the extracts for now. So it's extracting everything. We'll go ahead and extract that. I think part of the reason I was originally planning on possibly doing this with XNet, but then I was like, well, I've already got all this Ender IO stuff plugged up. Got my cable connections right there. XNet, we were going to use advanced cables, and so we could have just connected into the bottom and it would have been fine, but we're not doing that in this case. So basically we're just going through and we're setting all of these to extract is active. It can extract without any kind of signal, and that way it pulls out all the wax combs and stuff like that, right? And let's see, I need a way out of here. Okay, so if we take a look, everything is gone out of these except for queen bees. And that is what I want to see. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our conduits and we're going to put conduits between these apiaries. So I'm going to put down one right there. I'm going to come over, I'm going to put one right there, and then I'm going to come over and put one right there, and then we'll go ahead and stick, we'll put one here, we'll put one here, just as long as we have a conduit between each one. That's the main thing. And then I can facade down beneath this. And what we're going to do is we're going to say that you can insert, you can't extract. You can insert, you can't extract. And then from here, we can actually take it a step further, and like our honeycombs, we can set it up so that it automatically processes those and, you know, creates honey, which I will be doing that. I'm not going to do it on camera because I feel like it's pretty straightforward, and we've already automated pressers on camera. It's no biggie to do that. It's very, very simple and straightforward. So, and then all we're going to do is just bring our conduit line down. Like so. And down, and down, down, and down. Okay, if we take a look here, we give it just a second because it's probably going through some other stuff at the moment. Okay, this one actually got the queen bee, but these other ones did not. Okay, so that's my fault. I tried to put things in the apiaries and it wouldn't let me put like other things in there. So, see, I can't put things in there, but apparently the conduits can. Okay, that's my mistake. I was thinking it wouldn't do that. That's fine. I have a plan for that. And it's the same thing we're going to be using here in just a minute as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a mini chest. And we're going to use a mini chest to basically control all of our automation down here. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up a mini chest setting, say right here. Okay? And we're going to say that you will be able to insert, but we're going to filter it. And I can actually remove, like, well, I can't remove that conduit, but I can remove, like, this conduit. I can remove this conduit. Okay, so anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to set this up with a filter. Let me go ahead and grab a queen bee out of here. And we're going to say that you can insert queen bees. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and set the green channel. That's great. And we're going to say the extract channel is going to be magenta. Okay. And we're going to set this to always active. And we're going to go ahead and set that to insert. Okay, now it's probably going to pull out a queen bee. I'm going to go ahead and dump this one in here because I want it out of my inventory for the moment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change our insert lines to the magenta channel. And that way we only have to use one filter for this instead of having to use a filter per apiary. This just makes it a little bit easier. I was planning on doing this with the traps here in just a second, but I was thinking that since I couldn't place items in here, I was thinking the conduits couldn't either, but I was wrong. Should have tested that. My bad. Okay, so anyways, now if we pull out like our plain yogurts, we pull out the chicken curry, the raw tofican, mango chutney, deluxe chicken curry. I'm running out of space here with random junk. So you can see a queen bee just popped into here. There's nothing in this one. It's waiting because the only thing it can accept now really is queen bees, and that's it. There we go. There's a queen bee. It does take the conduits a second because there's a lot of stuff running, and they're not terribly fast without acceleration added to them. But it looks like we have queen bees all across the board. Wonderful. And it's going to pull out any produce that's created, combs, grubs, stuff like that. And then as soon as a queen bee is made, it's going to pump it out into the chest. And then as soon as there's an apiary that has an open slot, which there always should be, if there's a queen bee that's consumed or created, that means the queen bee has finished in the apiary, and then the queen bee will get cycled back through. And it's that simple. And that way we only have to use one filter, so we don't have to make a bunch of filters. And then I'll just facade this with grass. We'll have these little conduits to stick up, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Now, of course, if you used XNet, you could just put one advanced connector down below that and handle everything. But we'll get into advanced connectors later, probably the next time that we do a XNet system, which we can use it on our server. I know I've mentioned it before, but we're running a custom script. But it's supposed to actually be fixed in the next update of Mechanism, I believe. I guess they're working on it. So, okay, so apiaries are done. We don't have to worry about those anymore, and I think these are chunk loaded. They are. These over here might not be. No, I'll load it. Whatever. I've got the available chunks to load, and then because I'm basically using them all right through here, pretty much. I need to remove my ones in the nether, though, because I'm not using the nether pump anymore. Okay, so now that that's set up, I think I need to change that. But I think that the next thing we should do is the ground traps. These are pretty straightforward as well. What we're going to do is we're going to come down underneath this. And we're going to come down just a couple blocks here. We'll go ahead and dig that out. There we go. And we'll dig up that. And what we're going to do is we're going to put down a mini chest right there. Mini chest right there. And a mini chest right there. We're going to be using filtering for these. And I'm going to have to go make one more filter really, really quick. Actually, I'm going to need to make two. Yeah, I'm going to have to make two filters. Okay, so give me just a second. Let me go whip up two more filters. It'll only take a second. Okay, so what we're going to do, first up, let's go ahead and grab a piece of our veggie bait, because we already have that automated. Now, this isn't to say, this stuff may not run 24/7 all the time, because I might run out of veggie bait. I might run out of grain bait. But if so, that's okay. Honestly, at this point, I don't really need the produce from this. It's just we're just kind of automating it because we can. That way we have all the stuff covered, So I'm not too concerned about that. But we got some veggie bait, grain bait. It looks like grain bait we're probably not going to have any problems with because we have 104 stacks. Veggie bait, we only have about 10 stacks at the moment. Which, if I recall, it's tied to the stuff that we're using to make the deluxe chicken curry. So as we eat, it'll make more, you know, that's fine. And then I can always make more if I so desire. Now the fruit bait, that is the one that we do not have. And the way we're going to do it is we're actually just going to grab one of our fruits that we have coming in, ideally a like kiwi. Okay, kiwi we have, and it comes in through here, so we have tons of stuff. It's capped out. We might as well use it for something. So let's grab kiwi. And we are going to set ourselves up another presser from Pam's Harvestcraft. Just, I guess I'm just going to bring them around, maybe? I don't know. Is that what I want to do, or just want to lay them out? I don't know. I don't know if I just want to bring them down around through here. Yeah, might as well. Might as well. And let's go ahead and grab that iron. I can never have too much iron. We'll put it down right there. Let's drop a conduit on top. We're going to say that you can insert, but it's going to have a filter, and we're going to set it to kiwis. Only kiwis can come in here. And we'll remove the extract, add the insert, and we'll go ahead and toss one in there for good luck to get it started. There we go. It's starting to run. Okay, so we're going to start getting in kiwis, and every time it runs, it's going to make a fruit bait and a kiwi juice. And guess what? I haven't had me any kiwi juice. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab. Oops. I need to run. There we go. Kiwi juice. Let's grab a kiwi juice and a fruit bait. And I don't think I have any void drawers open. I do not. Okay, so our first fruit bait, we're going to toss it right into there. So it's got a slot. And then the kiwi juice, it's not really used for anything. Do I want to keep it? Yeah, whatever. We'll keep it. So let me go grab a void upgrade really, really quick. Because we're just going to want to void the kiwi juice after, you know, X amount. I'll go ahead and grab 2. That's actually not going to be enough for block placed. Wonder if Severe's working on something, but it's not going to be enough to handle everything that we're going to have coming from these traps, but it'll get us started anyways. All right, so what we're going to do is let's grab one of our frame drawers here. Oh, and I forgot my key. Let me go grab my key real quick. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take our drawer. We're going to drop it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and actually set up a couple more drawers because we are going to need them this episode. I'm going to leave that little area open there for right now. That'll eventually have drawers in it too. So, and we're going to take our kiwi juice and we're going to drop it right into there. Let me actually put a torch up there for right now. And we're going to put a void upgrade on this drawer. And we'll go ahead and do a void upgrade on this drawer. Okay, so now what we're going to do... Well, let me go get some food. I'm trying to eat things that I haven't ate yet. To get those hearts back up, so... okay, so that's all plugged up. Kiwi juice is in there. It's getting voided. That's great. Let's go ahead and pop down here. Let's go ahead and add a conduit on the bottom and just say that you can extract. And it's as simple as that. Always active. There we go. It's going to start pulling out. If we give it just a second, it's going to pull the fruit bait out. And it's going to pull the kiwi juice out. Takes the conduits a second. There we go. There we go. It's pulling the stuff out. That's wonderful. Okay. So now, what we're going to do, now that we have one of... Well, let me go grab a fruit bait real quick. Okay, so now that we have one of each of the baits, and baits are all automated, we're going to pop over here and just, let's see, where's the nearest conduit line? Okay, I'm thinking if we just brought it straight back. So give me just a second. Let me dig this out. I almost void mine that, or vein mine that, I mean. Okay, so there's our mini chest. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and dig this out here. And yeah, I'm going to have to deal with a little bit of water right here. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. Okay, so what we're going to do is our conduit line, let's go ahead and bring it up and connect it into the bottom of this mini chest. And we're going to put a filter on here. We're going to say that you will be able to insert fruit bait. And we'll turn off extract, we'll turn on insert. Okay, and we'll go ahead and dump a fruit bait in there for good luck. And then we're going to go ahead and just bring this conduit line out again, connect it into the bottom of this mini chest. And this one we're going to say that you'll be able to insert with a filter veggie bait, or grain bait I mean. And we'll go ahead and turn on the insert, and we'll toss a grain bait in there. And then basically just the same thing once again. You will be able to insert veggie bait. And then we'll just run the conduits back. There we go, it's connected up. And let me grab my ender book so I can warp out of here. Okay, so those are configured. Our mini chests are set, each one having one of the 3 different baits. So we've got 41 fruit bait in there. We have 64 grain bait. We have 17 and counting veggie bait. Alright, so then what we're going to do is, first up, let's see, the ground trap, we're going to want to pull the items out of the bottom of these. And, well, let's see, do I want to do that first? Yeah, might as well, actually, because it's not going to be able to pull it out if it doesn't have a place to go, and I can configure that. So we're just going to go up underneath this, and we're going to just extract, oops. We're going to just bring it down like this, and connect it into this conduit line. We're going to say extract, always active. And then we'll do the same thing on this side, and then we're going to do the same thing for the other 4 ground traps. And I'm going to have, basically I'm going to have 2 ground traps for each type of bait. And that's really, honestly, that alone's overkill. And you can see the eggs not being pulled out, the chicken, the feathers, the bones, they're not being pulled out because there's no drawers configured to hold those items. Okay, everything's set up. All of these have the extraction set. Of course, we are going to have to configure the drawers. That's not a problem. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to have to insert items, and we're going to insert them from the sides here. So let's go ahead and pull this up, pull that up, and then the rest of these are already pulled up. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a conduit there, conduit there, conduit there, and we're going to say that you'll be able to insert items, and from here we're going to extract always active. Okay, so that's going to start getting veggie bait. And we'll give it just a little bit to run. We should see stuff coming in. And then over here, and let's actually grab a piece. I'll show you that it works. Toss that grain bait in there, it gets consumed. Okay, that means it works. Then we'll do the same thing over here. We're going to say that you can insert, you can extract, always active. That's going to go ahead and fill that up. Okay, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and tell it that it can insert here as well. Then over here, we've actually got 64 fruit bait. That's great. Let's go ahead and say that you can insert, you can extract. And these are basically just little micro conduit lines that pull from that mini chest and then send the items out. And let's go ahead and set this to round robin enabled, and then round robin enabled. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and set this to insert, and we should start getting some bait in here. That's great. And over here, that's got enough to get started. We'll go ahead and say that you can insert items as well. Okay, and that's really all there is to it. That's really all there is to it. And then I'll just take this dirt, and then I'll have to facade, some grass down here. Not a problem. We'll go ahead and drop this dirt here, and it'll get transferred over. It'll get changed over into grass. Okay, and let me go dump these items. We'll throw a couple items into the chests, or into the drawer system, and then we'll just let it run. I'm just going to be adding stuff to drawers between episodes. As the stuff stockpiles, I'll toss it in. No biggie. It's pretty much right there. Okay, so we'll grab like eggs, we'll grab feathers, we'll grab, have these produced anything over here yet? Not yet. We'll let those continue running for a minute. And we'll grab, say, chicken, okay? And, oh yeah, bones. And actually the eggs and the feathers, I'm going to put those in the drawer that has the kiwi in it, because I'm never going to increase this over 8 stacks. I think 8 stacks is plenty for kiwi juice, feathers, and eggs. Okay, and you can see we've got 2 feathers in there. So the conduits are connected, they're working, they're pulling the items out. Bones, we're going to go ahead and put this into this drawer. as well as the chicken also. And if we give it just a second, we should see 2 chicken. There we go, 2 chicken. And I'm going to eat one. Just because I can. Okay, this has been running for a little bit. I was prepping up analog crafter, grinder, another filter. I also went ahead and facaded this grass, so that's cleaned up. Rabbit's feet, duck, rabbit. There's leather, raw turkey. There's also rabbit hides. Duck and turkey. I mean, all these are running, and they're running great. It's just not, it's not pulling out the items because I haven't put them into drawers. So we are going to need to do that. And I'll just run over and drop this stuff off real quick. And we'll get this into drawers. So right here we'll toss in the rabbit and the leather. I'm going to do upgrades for these, like void upgrades and storage upgrades between episodes. It's not going to back up over the course of this episode, so that's not too much of an issue. But we'll go ahead and get these slotted so it'll go ahead and start pulling the items out of the traps. And we also get a lot of other meats like venison and turkey and stuff that we can't normally get, really. So it is quite useful. Quite useful indeed. Okay, so there we go. We have everything slotted that's coming from that so far. Now, I don't think we have like beef. I don't think that's come up yet. I mean, there's still other things that are going to come from this, because actually, if you take a look at the bait, for example, I mean, you could see just veggie bait. You have a lot of different stuff. Grain bait. A lot of this stuff overlaps, though. I mean, you're going to get, like, for example, leather and eggs and feathers and all that stuff you're going to get from each of these, but you do get some specialty produce, like fruit is where you get rabbits items. So we are going to get a little bit of overlap, but we're going to start pulling in all this stuff for free, basically. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to automate fish traps. And these actually have probably the most steps. It's not really difficult to automate, but we do have a couple things we need to set up. Okay, so what we're going to do is, first up, we're going to do our analog crafter. And we're going to set this up like, well, we'll put it right here. And we're going to set up a recipe here. And we're going to say that if you take 3 string... Oh, wait, I can't set the recipe up just yet. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and set up this part. So 3 string, and we're going to say it's sticky. And we're going to go ahead and block off these connections, because nothing's going to come into those. These 4 is where all the items are going to go. Now, I can't do anything else just yet, because we need to get the fish up and going. And what we're going to do is, right here, we're going to set up a grinder. And grinders are wonderful things, because what we can do with these is we can actually use these to increase the amount of fish products that we're producing. And what we're going to do, let's pop down right here. Let's go ahead and set up the extraction line for this. So there's our grinder. We're going to go ahead and say that you can extract always active. And then from this top side here, we are going to set up a filter. And basically we're going to tell it 5 different fish, because that's the limit on the filter. And that's really all we need, in truth. Now, I don't have any fish at present, it doesn't look like. I don't think... If any of these could be ground up, that would be perfect, but I don't think any of these can, because they don't turn into fish. That's fine. Let's pop over here. Initially, we're going to have 5 fish in this. Now, long term, it's going to basically just have 1 type of fish in there, whatever ends up being in there whenever it starts backing up. All right, so we're going to take salmon, we're going to take raw fish, tilapia, catfish, and walleye. That'll be fine. I don't happen to have any, I don't have any sardines. In the Pam's Harvestcraft world, all fish are created equal, and all fish produce the same amount of meat, so it really doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and toss in our walleye, catfish, tilapia, fish, and salmon. And then we're going to go ahead and say that you can insert, there we go, and it's going to insert these 5 different fish. Whenever they're imported into our network, they'll immediately get exported, if there's space, of course, in the grinder. And it'll only take 1 of these at a time. So if it has, say, 26 fish in there, it's not going to take anything else that's added to the filter, because, of course, it only has 1 slot. So eventually it's just going to basically have one fish that backs up and it's going to stay backed up. So anyways, it's going to start pulling these things out. If we take a look inside the grinder now, you can see it's just created ground fish. And there we go. It's going to run again with this walleye. It's going to grind it up, and it's going to make 2 ground fish. For each fish that we put through here, we basically double the output with this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of this ground fish, and we're going to drop it into a storage drawer that's not set to void. So we'll drop it into there. That'll be fine. And then I guess this one right here isn't going to void as well. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take our ground fish, we're going to take a piece of that, and we're going to drop it into our analog crafter. There we go. And then we're going to drop down here, we're going to say that you can extract always active, you can also insert items into here. And if we give it a second, it's going to start pumping in string, and then it's probably going to pump in string until it's done, and then it's going to pump in our ground fish, and it's going to start creating fish bait. And of course it crafts 4 at a time. So basically for each fish that we run through this, we're getting 8 fish bait. So we're going to get 8 fish back for each bait, or for each fish that's used by this. So we should, with 5 fish set, we should get enough coming in that we're going to be producing more bait than we're, consuming, right? So eventually all this is going to back up. So there we go. It's going to start pumping out fish trap bait. Let's go ahead and grab a piece of this. And we're going to drop this into a drawer, say right here. And we'll give it just a second to pump our fish bait over. There we go. Okay, so that's building up. And that's really the main thing about this. Fish trap bait, automation, done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop over here. I'm actually just going to plug up one of these water traps for right now. And that's simply due to the fact that I don't want it dumping in, say, 1 fish bait or 1... Well, actually, I guess I could pump up all 4 as long as I set it to round robin from the mini chest. That should be fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig that up right there. And we are going to pop down right here. Let's go ahead and put down a item conduit line right there. And let's see, that's a trap. Not a trap. Trap. Not a trap. This should be the other... Yeah, this is where the other conduit goes. And we'll go ahead and set this to insert on each of these. This is where the bait is going to come in. So that's set up. And then we're going to have to set up extraction lines. So let's go ahead. We'll just pull this up. This will be right underneath it, of course. And we're going to extract out of the bottom. And we'll go ahead and say extract is always active. Extract is always active on each of these. There we go. And then on these, let's go ahead and set this to a color. Because I'm actually going to have these conduits running through together. So we're going to set this to, say, yellow. It's going to insert on yellow and yellow. Okay. And then all we're going to do is just drop a conduit like right there. That's going to connect all those up. Drop a conduit right there. That'll connect all of those up. And then we're just going to run these together. Okay, so all of that's plugged up. And then we're going to set up a mini chest that is setting... I don't have any bait on me. Okay, I'm going to have to get some of that here in just a second. Let's go ahead and pop over. We actually need to come over to here. Okay, so there's our conduit line. And let's see. I guess... I tell you what, we're going to put our mini chest setting right here, just so I'll be able to access it easily. And we're going to add a filter to this. We're going to say that you can insert only. You can also extract. You can insert on green, you can extract on yellow. And we're going to have it set with a filter on the insert. For right now, I'm going to put a key in there just to lock it in. Because you can see it just got clams from that fish trap. And then we'll go ahead and just run our conduits over and connect these up. Like so. There we go. And let's go ahead and warp back over to our controller. And let's grab a piece of our fish trap bait. We already have 36 pieces just off the fish that I had. Like those 5 fish. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and let's see, right over here is our mini chest. We're going to set the extraction to round robin first up. And then right here, we're going to set up our filter, and we're going to say that you can insert fish trap bait. And there we go. And so if we give it just a second, we should see... Oh, and we also need to set the redstone mode to always active. Okay, so fish trap bait, there we go. It's coming into there, it's coming into there, coming into there, and coming into there. Great. And then all we need to do is we'll just need to gather up the fish and start slotting them into drawers. And really that's all there is to it. We'll let that run for just a second, and I'll edit some footage while I'm waiting, and then we'll come back and see how things are going. We should have, we should be getting in more fish trap bait, which that's something, I mean, right now it's got 12, 8, 8, and 8. Okay. Which this is all going to be water, by the way. We're going to be, once I facade that down there, I'm going to fill the rest of this in with water. But after this runs for a little bit, we should get some fish in. And any of the fish that can go, you know, basically these 5 fish here are the ones that are set to filters. They'll get pulled out. They'll make more fish bait. So, and that's really all there is to it. So I'm going to let that run for just a minute, and we'll see how how it performs. Also, we need to check our ground traps really quick. Running good. There's some beef. Okay, so we got beef in. Great. And that just pulled something out. It looked like mutton. There's some more beef, and okay. Those are all good. Also, how are our bees doing right now? Hopefully they're doing good. Queen bee running. Queen bee running. Running. So that's all running perfectly. If we take a look at our honeycombs, which I really haven't been filling these manually all that much, you can see we have about 2.5 stacks of wax combs, which is free emeralds. 3.5 stacks of honeycombs, also free emeralds. 3 stacks of bee grubs, also free emeralds, and dragon meals. So, very, very good. Okay, it has been just a little bit since I last cut. And you can see now we have over 4 stacks of bee grubs, 3.5 stacks of wax combs, almost 5 stacks of honeycombs. In addition, you can see our wall of automation has gotten bigger. We have, this isn't all the fish. I know I don't have puffer fish in here. For starters, and there might be another fish or 2 that we don't currently have. But I did get all these filled out with void upgrades. I had to go farm obsidian to do that. And then I also got 1 storage upgrade in all of these, including the kiwi juice. I was like, whatever, I'll throw that in there. So anyways, lots of different fish coming in. And if we pop over here, I did have to make a couple changes to this because I derped again, of course. I've been derping all episode. I blame it on just lack of sleep and move and all that stuff. That's my excuse. But you can see that our bait has gone up. We have 14 in there. We have 12 in there. We have 12 in there. And we have 10 in here. It's higher than what we had. It would have been higher had I not derped initially. Okay, so basically I wasn't thinking. And I put this conduit down here, which of course removed 1 water block. And I didn't take that into account. And so these weren't running how I had them set up before. Because the water traps have to have basically 5 blocks touching them. It's kind of hard to explain. Touching them on the same axis. Basically, whenever you place down, like, let's say a water trap. Let's say this is a water trap. Let's come out to a little bit more space. I'll try to explain this as best I can. So we have a water trap setting here. Now, if you place a block of water here, 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 it's not going to run. That's only 4 blocks, right? So then what you can do is you can put another block of water here, which is why I had that little bit of water kind of inset into the wall there. And then it has 5 blocks because it can come out, it can check water 1 block away. So there you go. You got 5 blocks of water. But since I placed a conduit right here, then it only had 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. So I had to make another bit of water there to give it that 5th block that it needed. And that's basically how it works. You can do whatever, you know, whatever design. And I didn't take that into account when I set it up. I was like, okay, well, I've got 5 blocks, and I set it up. So what I did was I just pushed the glass out one block, and then now it has, you know, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each of these. So all of these are running now, so no more issues. No more issues. And also, you can have water on top of these if you so desire. It's been working just fine. But I ended up removing the water and kind of having it like a little fountain, like the fish get pushed out through this, and I might actually drop this a little bit so it kind of like flows. Maybe something to this effect. I don't know. I might actually end up blocking that off so it only has. I don't know. I kind of like the open thing. I might remove some of that dirt. You know, that'll come in time. And I'm also thinking about taking this glass. I am going to build this stone wall out one more block. Maybe. Or maybe I'll just have it come out and hook into the wall right there. That's actually what I might do. But I do think I'm going to chisel and bit this and push it back. And then almost have like a kind of like glassed in little retaining wall there. And do maybe like a, I don't know, maybe some kind of like black bar on top that runs across, kind of like a little handrail. And so that way it's a little bit more easily accessible and it's not so blocked in. I think it would look better that way. So basically the water's flowing through here and, you know, the current's catching fish. It's pushing them into our water trap area, and then inevitably they end up landing in one of our water traps and pow, you know, fish food. Hey, pufferfish, I've been waiting on you. But anyways, I mean, there's an absolute ton of fish that come from this. Now, you could do, I know Damien set up like 80 million fish traps. I'm not really sure why. With it being on a server, I think 4 is going to be more than enough, because by the next episode, we're going to have so much fish we won't know what to do with it. And it's not like I'm consuming fish or food all that fast. Honestly, if I was just eating deluxe chicken curry, which I might actually eat one of those really, really quick. That's the nice thing, is while I'm eating all these foods, I can just pop one of those every so often. 100% again. But I think we'll be good on fish, and we'll be good on all this other stuff. I haven't seen anything coming from these ground traps lately that isn't already in the system. So I think we're good. We have 2 of each bait type for the ground traps, then we have 4 fish traps. And the fish traps actually run a little bit faster than the ground traps do. I think because the ground traps are semi-OP, whereas the fish traps are basically just giving us lots of fish items. Whereas with the ground traps, you get your bones, you get your leather, you get all your different meats, you get your feathers, you get all that stuff from those ground traps. So, I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff coming in, and we've already got 21 leather, and that's just in the short time that's been running. So imagine what we're going to have by next episode. You know, as this sits on the server running 24/7, we're going to have a ton of stuff. We're going to have an absolute ton of stuff. And, I mean, we seem to be good on bait. I mean, look at that. Just since we've been talking, 16, 19, 19, and 20. Now, technically, it's all RNG, so it could possibly run out of fish trap bait. But the probability of that with 5 fish out of the total amount, and every fish that comes in that fits those 5 fish makes 8 bait. The probability of that ever happening is very, very minute. It's honestly probably just going to slowly build up on everything. And possibly by next episode, it might just be using 1 fish that's kind of backed up in the grinder. We'll see. I don't know. That might be pushing it. But, you know, before long, it's going to back up on all those fish. So, no biggie. So, anyways, that's pretty much all of our traps and our apiaries automated. We're going to be getting just tons of stuff coming in. But anyways, I am going to end out this episode here. Next episode, when we come back, I don't know if we're going to be doing... I'm probably going to wait to do the harvestcraft stuff. Well, we might do the IC2 stick read automation. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to toss it over because we don't really have time this episode. But it's not going to take a whole lot of time, so we might get into that, and then we might switch gears and work on something else. I don't know if we'll do a little bit of ice and fire, because I do want to get into a bit of that. But we'll see. We might do just harvestcraft. I know the tree automation, I'm probably going to wait until after we do our reactors, and there's a reason for that. We'll get into that later. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to be working on next episode. But anyways, I'm going to do some building and stuff between episodes, as well as, of course, real-life house stuff. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button, and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. Stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.